What's going on today, YouTube? Rob here. Today's video I'm coming at you with a $30 budget variant of the brand new Crystal Beast structure deck. This deck comes with a lot of really cool cards and a lot of really neat strategies for Crystal Beast, so let's get into what I came up with. But before we get started, I just want to say, if you're new to the channel, consider leaving a like, commenting on what you might want to see next, and subscribe to the channel for more fun videos. Now let's get into this deck profile.
Alright guys, let's get into this brand new Crystal Beast structure deck profile. This is a budget variant using 3 copies of just the structure deck. Starting things off, we have 2 copies of Rainbow Dragon. This card is always treated as an ultimate crystal card, which is amazing because it works well with the deck. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by having 7 Crystal Beast cards with different names on the field and or in your graveyard. This card cannot activate the following effects the turn it is special summoned. Quick effect, you can send all Crystal Beast monsters you control to the graveyard. This card gains 1000 attack for each monster sent to the graveyard. And you can banish all Crystal Beast monsters from your graveyard and shuffle all cards on the field into the deck. You don't really need to max out on this. 2 is fine, because there's also another retrain of the dragon. Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon. If this card is if this face-up card is destroyed by or in a monster zone, you can place it face up in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects of Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon once per turn. When an attack is declared involving a Crystal Beast monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can you can banish this card treated as a continuous spell, and special summon 1 level 4 or lower Crystal Beast monster from your deck but negate its effects. And if you do, add 1 ultimate crystal monster from your deck to your hand. So again, not bad. You can kind of cheat this guy out, which is amazing. Then we have, moving on to our Crystal Beast, triple copies of Sapphire Pegasus. He's the only 3 of Crystal Beast because he's the best one, in my opinion. When this card is summoned, you can place 1 Crystal Beast monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in your spell and trap zone, and as a continuous spell. And then, if this face-up card is destroyed in a monster zone, you can place it face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard. I'm sorry, coming over a cold still. And then for one-ofs, we have 1 copy of Topaz Tiger. If this card attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 400 attack during damage step only. And if this face-up card is destroyed in a monster zone, you can place it in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard like every other Crystal Beast. We've got 1 copy of Amber Mammoth. When another Crystal Beast monster you control is targeted for an attack, you can change the attack target to this card. And again, if it's destroyed, it goes to your spell and trap zone. We've got Emerald Tortoise. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster you control that attacked this turn. Change that target to defense position. If this face-up card is destroyed in a monster zone, you can send it to your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. And we have 1 copy of Ruby Carbuncle. When this card is special summoned, you can special summon as many Crystal Beast monsters as possible from your spell and trap zones. Jeez. Wish this cold would just go away. Then we've got 1 copy of Amethyst Cat. This card can attack your opponent directly, but when it uses this effect, the battle damage it inflicts to your opponent is halved. And then we have, lastly, for our Crystal Beast monsters, we have 1 copy of Cobalt Eagle. Once per turn, you can target 1 Crystal Beast card you control, place that target on top of the deck, and if this card is destroyed in the monster zone, place it in the spell and traps. So that's it for our Crystal Beasts. Then we've got triple copies of Ghost Bell and triple copies of Ash Blossom. These are reprints, and because they're in the structure deck, it's kind of hard not to put them in. They're good hand traps, and it makes this deck a little bit more competitively viable. You guys know what these cards do, so 1 interacts with the graveyard, 1 interacts more with your deck or adding cards to the hand. And then lastly, for monsters, we have one copy of Crystal Master. This is a pendulum monster whose pendulum effect is your opponent cannot target ultimate crystal monsters or crystal beast cards you control with card effects. And its regular effect is you contribute this card and add one ultimate crystal monster or crystal beast monster or crystal spell and trap from your deck to your hand, which is also amazing. Moving on to our spells, we have triple copies of Rainbow Bridge of the Heart. During your main phase, you can normal summon one Crystal Beast monster in addition to your normal summoner set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. You can only use each of the following effects of Rainbow Bridge of the Heart once per turn. During your main phase, you can destroy one Crystal Beast card you control or in your hand, and if you do, add a Crystal spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Or if a Crystal Beast card or cards is placed in your spell and trap zone even during the damage step, you can target one card your opponent controls, return both that card and this card to the hand. Then we've got triple copies of Crystal Bond. This lets you add a Crystal Beast monster from your deck to your hand and place one Crystal Beast monster with a different name from your deck face up on your spell trap zone as a continuous spell. You can only activate one Crystal Bond per turn, which is really great because this helps you get quicker access, I should say, to your Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon or your Rainbow Dragon in general. And we have one copy of Crystal Aegis. This lets you target a Crystal Beast monster card you control and destroy it, and then special summon a Crystal Beast token with the destroyed monster's original type, attribute, level, attack, and defense. And if a Crystal Beast card or cards is placed in your spell and trap zone while this card is in your graveyard, even during the damage step, you can banish this card and special summon one Crystal Beast monster card from your spell and trap zone. You can only use this effect of Crystal Aegis once per turn. Again, this deck pretty much just revolves around trying to OTK your opponent with your Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon or your Rainbow Dragon itself. And then we've got two copies of Awakening the Ultimate Crystals, or the Crystal Ultimates. Reveal one Ultimate Crystal monster in your hand and then activate one of these effects. If you control an Ultimate Crystal monster, you can activate one or two of these effects in sequence instead, and you do not have to reveal a monster. So you can take one Rainbow Bridge card or one Rainbow Refraction from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Or you can special summon one Crystal Beast monster from your hand, deck, graveyard, or spell and trap zone. You can only activate one Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates per turn. This is really great because it is a quick effect as well. And then we've got triple copies of Rainbow Bridge to add a Crystal Spell or Trap to your hand from your deck. And then we have the one copy of Rainbow Ruins. You must have this many Crystal Beast cards in your spell and trap zone to activate this effect. If you have 1+, this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. 2+, once per turn, including your opponent's turn, you can have the battle damage that you take. 3+, when a spell or trap card is activated, you can send one Crystal Beast monster you control to the graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. If you have 4+, once per turn, during your main phase, you can draw one card. And if you have 5, once per turn, during your main phase, you can target one Crystal Beast card in your spell and trap zone and special summon that target. So these work really well together because Rainbow Bridge does a lot for you in terms of being able to get your other cards and continue on trying to get advantage. And then Rainbow Ruins is just great as a field spell. We've got one copy of Crystal Promise, which targets one Crystal Beast card in your spell and trap zone and special summons it. And then lastly, we have one copy of Crystal Release. This you can only equip to a Crystal Beast monster. It gains 800 attack, and when this card is sent from field to graveyard, you can place one Crystal Beast monster from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. That's it for our spells. Let's move on to the rest of our deck, which are traps. Double copies of Crystal Miracle. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, destroy one Crystal Beast card you control, and if you do, negate that activation. And if you do that, destroy that card. If a Crystal Beast card or cards is placed in your spell and trap zone while this card is in your graveyard, even during the damage step, you can banish this card and place one Crystal Beast monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. You can only use this effect of Crystal Miracle once per turn. Again, really good at being able to swarm the field with your Crystal Beast monsters, setting you up for your Rainbow Dragons. Then we've got one copy of Crystal Boom, which lets you special summon up to 2 Crystal Beast monster cards from your spell and trap zone, and if you do, gain life points equal to their combined original attack. If a Crystal Beast card or cards is placed in your spell and trap zone while this card is in your graveyard, even during the damage step, you can banish this card, excavate the top card from your deck, and if it's a Crystal Beast monster, either add it to your hand or special summon it. Otherwise, send that card to the graveyard. You can only use this effect of Crystal Boom once per turn. And then we've got one copy of Ultimate Crystal Magic. When your Crystal Beast monster is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, is just destroyed by battle, you can send 7 Crystal Beast cards with different names from your hand, deck, and or face up on the field to the graveyard. Special summon one Ultimate Crystal Fusion monster from your extra deck. This is treated as a fusion summon, and if the face up Ultimate Crystal monster you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard and place any number of Crystal Beast monsters from your graveyard face up in your spell and trap zones as continuous spells. This is a really good way of being able to get out your fusion monsters. And then we have one copy of Crystal Conclave to end off our main deck. Once per turn, if a face-up Crystal Beast monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Crystal Beast monster from your deck. You can send this face-up card from the field to the graveyard and target one Crystal Beast card you control and one card on the field, return that to the hand, and you cannot activate these effects in the same chain. So that rounds off our main deck, rather. Let's move on to our extra deck. It's pretty small. It's just triple copies of each monster. So we've got Ultimate Crystal Rainbow Dragon Overdrive, which is absolutely absurd. For a name, we've got one. This requires one Ultimate Crystal monster and 2 Crystal Beast monsters. And 7 Crystal Beast monsters. Man, I cannot read today. Must be special summoned from your extra deck. During a duel, you special summon an Ultimate Crystal monster by banishing the above monsters from your field and or graveyard. While 7 or more of your Crystal Beast monsters with different names are banished, this card gains 7,000 attack. If this card has not battled this turn, quick effect, you can tribute this card, shuffle as many cards on the field as possible into the deck, and if you do, special summon any number of your banished Crystal Beast monsters. This is just like your ultimate boss monster, essentially. It's a good way of breaking your opponent's board, because it actually doesn't target with that wipeout effect, which is great because you can potentially still OTK using that non-battle effect. And then lastly, we've got Rainbow Overdragon, which requires 7 Crystal Beast monsters. This card is treated as an Ultimate Crystal card. Must be either fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing 1 level 10 Ultimate Crystal monster. Once per turn, you can banish 1 Crystal Beast monster from your graveyard, and this card gains attack equal to the banished monsters until the end of this turn. Quick effect, you can tribute this fusion summon card and shuffle all cards on the field into the deck. Another board breaking card, which is great as well. But let's move on to the mini side deck that I've made. This can be changed out depending on what you want to play, but I find that this actually works alright. So we've got triple copies of D-Shifter. Card probably should have been banned on the latest ban list. If you have no cards in your graveyard, quick effect, you can send this card to the graveyard, and until the end of the next turn, any card sent there is banished instead. We've got one copy of Crystal Keeper, whose pendulum effect is each turn, for the first time, an Ultimate Crystal monster or monsters and or Crystal Beast card you control would be destroyed by a card effect. This turn it is not, and its regular effect is if a Crystal Beast monster you control battles an opponent's monster during the damage calculation, quick effect, you contribute this card from your hand or face up on the field, and your battling monster's attack and defense become double its original attack and defense during that damage calculation only, but it is destroyed at the end of the damage step. Again, really good for OTKs. And then we have one copy of Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by sending 3 face-up continuous spells that you control to the graveyard. And if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent. While this face-up card is in defense position, monsters your opponent controls cannot target other monsters for attack, except this one. I figured this is really good to include. I thought about including it in the main deck, but I tried to keep that as pure as possible. But it's good. It's a good side deck option because you do have so many continuous spells with your Crystal Beast monsters. Then we've got one copy of Crystal Abundance. Send 4 Crystal Beast cards from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard, and send as many cards on the field as possible to the graveyard. Then special summon as many Crystal Beast monsters as possible from your graveyard up to the number of cards sent from your opponent's field to the graveyard by this effect. So you can essentially activate this card, wipe out your opponent's entire field, and then special summon as many Crystal Beasts as possible, and basically just OTK your opponent from there. Then we have Rare Value, uh, 2 copies. If you control 2 or more Crystal Beast cards in your spell and trap zone, your opponent chooses 1 Crystal Beast card in your spell and trap zone and you send it to the graveyard, and if you do, draw 2 cards. This is your Crystal Beast Pot of Greed, essentially. Oh, sorry. Uh, Again, I could have included that in the main deck, but I figured it was alright so far. Decent side decking option. Then we have triple copies of Cosmic Cyclone, another reprinted card that, again, you could put in your main deck, but for now it's a side decking option. Pay 1,000 life points, target a spell or trap on the field, and banish it. Quick effect as well, so again, really good for getting rid of your opponent's problematic cards. And then for the rest of the extra deck, we have traps. I put 2 copies of Ultimate Crystal Magic, just because this does help you gain access to your fusion and your extra deck monsters, I should say. And again, it kind of helps with OTK. Don't really need to explain that any further, because we do have the 1 copy in our main deck. Then we have 1 copy of Ferret Flames. This card is really neat because it lets you basically nuke your opponent's field again. If the combined attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls is higher than your life points, you can make your opponent shuffle face-up monsters they control into the deck, their choice, except monsters with 0 attack, so that the combined attack of the remaining monsters becomes less than or equal to your life points. Again, really good way of being able to get rid of problematic cards, because this doesn't target, and you can basically just get rid of your opponent's cards. And like I said, this deck revolves around trying to OTK your opponent, so you can OTK your opponent with less obstacles at that point. I might include another one, but for now I have Crystal Brilliance as our last side decking spot. So you can only control 1 Crystal Brilliance. Each Crystal Beast monster you control gains attack equal to its original defense. If a Crystal Beast card or cards is placed in your spell and trap zone, even during the damage step, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard and special summon 1 Crystal Beast monster from your hand or graveyard. And then also any damage you take during this turn is now halved, which is amazing. Because that does keep you into the duel, and then again, you can always follow up and continue to try and OTK your opponent. But yeah, that was it for our extra deck, our side deck, and our main deck, using a budget variant. I really like this deck. I find it really fun, and it's really neat to be able to get some new Crystal Beast cards. And I think there's new Battles of Legends set coming out in the near future, with more Crystal Beast cards, so you can add on to it using those cards, and I might do that in the future.
Alright guys, that's it for this brand new Crystal Beast Structure deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment on any changes you might make, or what you want to see next, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe for more fun Yu-Gi-Oh videos, and I will catch you in the next one. That's game.